Chris, it's time to talk about, of course, the third Saturday in October, what we saw on Saturday in Knoxville, but in a lot of ways look forward to what's coming up later this week with the Missouri Tigers in town. But Roll Tide, good morning. How's everything going for you?
Yeah, Roll Tide. Good morning. It's lousy, as you would expect, after a tough loss to an arch rival. But you're right. There is no choice other than to look ahead. You have to look back at what went wrong. 15 penalties. I'm trying to remember. I think that's at least 30, maybe 33 in the last two meetings up in Knoxville, last two trips to Knoxville for Alabama football. Um, a lot of self-inflicted damage in that ball game. I felt good at halftime. It felt good, but not great. You're up 7-0, but you know it should have been more than that. And Tennessee has been rough in the first half all year. They probably felt pretty good that they were only down 7-0 at that time. Um, they made a great play that set up their first score. I mean, a fantastic throw, a third and long that put them in that inside the five, and a heck of an effort. And then a couple of pretty good plays that put them ahead. But Alabama's got to be better. Got things improved defensively, but too many mistakes offensively. Jalen was off for whatever reason. Was not the guy that we have seen for the majority of the last 12 months. It's unfortunate. Couldn't get things going, and some missed opportunities that really hurt you. If you want to go encouragement, I will absolutely go with the defense though, because they did improve. Tennessee missed some chances on their own as well that were wide open that thankfully they didn't convert earlier in the game. So you're kind of fortunate in that regard, but um, you're sitting here now in a spot where the back is firmly against the wall as far as what your hopes and aspirations are for the postseason. There is no wiggle room. There's no room for error. Um, I think we now know, and I know I'm hitting a lot of stuff here, but I think it's clear that when at your best, this team can play with anybody. Georgia went from being, oh, they're dead, they're not Georgia anymore, to, well, they're number two in the country. Um, and the guy that, or the team that's ahead of them, had to win a great ball game at home that if they had played on the road probably would have lost. That's just how close that game with Ohio State was. So look, it's not about anybody else though right now. It's not about what you've done, pro or con. It's about going back to work, getting in the training room to get yourself as healthy as possible, control as much of that as you can control. It's about getting back to the practice field and getting better. And look, candidly, I think that may be part of the issue. I'm not sure that this group is healthy enough to do what's necessary Monday through Friday to get better, so that they can be who they need to be on Saturday. And you got to go with your best. But I think it's a very beaten up, battered team. Yes, certainly emotionally with two losses now, but physically, I think they are as well. Nobody's going to have sympathy for you. That's not an excuse. It's a reality. Everybody's dealing with it at some level. But for this team with so many new faces, and here's the deal, everybody's new in reality for Alabama's football team, because even the guys that are back from last year or have been in the system from day one, like a Malachi Moore, they're all they all this year have had to learn something new, because it's a new coaching staff, a new system. So it's brand new for everybody. So to expect the exact same results, um, I think would be foolish on all of our parts. And I'm probably guilty of it as much as anybody else, because you get programmed after 16 of the last 17 seasons where, heck, you're just in the mix every single year. But it took change, a transition. When Coach Saban first came in, Kalen DeBoer's history is of, okay, the first year may not be what you want it to be, but after that, everybody else better look out. And I don't see any reason to think going forward that we're going to be in the same boat. But you got to get through this storm, which is this season. And that's all anybody cares about right now, Missouri, and finding a way to be good enough to beat them on Saturday.
And for the Crimson Tide, last year was a little bit different with only the 4-team playoff. You knew the margin for error was pretty much shot once Alabama
Sure.
lost to Texas week 2, but then they respond, go undefeated in the SEC, win the SEC championship game against Georgia. Now we're at a similar spot for this team in a 12-team playoff. 2 losses already, 2 in the last 3 weeks, but 1 week at a time, this group is still capable of something special.
No doubt. I mean, you got a ranked team in Missouri. Granted, they've dropped a couple that weren't expecting to and have slid, outside the top 20, but they're still in the top 25. So there's an opportunity to get fixed against somebody who's definitely credible. You're going to Baton Rouge. You're going to Norman, Oklahoma. And I know what happened last weekend or this past weekend, but it's still OU. And it's a game that by the time you play it, will it's going to be Alabama and Oklahoma, and that to anybody that knows any history of college football at all is going to have a special sound and it'll have a lot of eyeballs on it, regardless of what the records are when we go into that game. And the same thing for the Iron Bowl. So there are games out there that are still games that can definitely help you, and LSU in that mix. And if I didn't mention it, I don't know why I didn't, but they are obviously a team that's in a great spot right now, and you're playing them in Tiger Stadium. And Alabama's history there is pretty good more often than not. So hopefully they're going to find a way to get this thing done, turned around. But again, that stuff that I just ran through is secondary. It's truly about practice today, practice tomorrow, and the day after that. And then let's go play on homecoming and get things done on Saturday against Mizzou in front of a national television audience once again.
Chris, you're always busy during the week and around Alabama football games, but you just mentioned homecoming. How special is it for you to be a part of the festivities that make this a truly special weekend, something we don't really see any other weekend in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, it is. We got I got double booked initially, so the pep rally is in much better hands with Tony Giles handling that, and then we honor our Crimson Tide Foundation folks on Friday night as well, and I'll be involved with that. But it is a special weekend. I've heard from a lot of people that are great names as alums and also former coaches. They're going to be back in town for various sports, and so you got all of that taking place, and Sean Alexander coming back as the Grand Marshal, and I don't know if Sean's got a carry per drive left in him, but I'd like to find out. I know no eligibility left, but I still wouldn't mind handing it to 37 and taking my chances with it. He was so good and such a great representative for the university during his time in the NFL and beyond. So it'll be great to have him back on campus, and a lot surrounding that. And frankly, I think we probably need that as fans. We need some distraction to help us not forget what happened, but just go, okay, there's some other stuff going on. Win or had they won or lost this past weekend, it wasn't going to matter. The team was going to have to be focused on what happens inside the building, and there's nothing more irrelevant within a football building than a college homecoming. And I don't say that to demean homecoming, but we know what it was like when we were in high school. I mean, homecoming week was a big deal, whatever, even if you didn't have football in your school like mine. We were the first graduating class. So homecoming was kind of weird, but it's still, everybody's thinking about it, talking about it when you're in high school. Well, in college, it's another weekend. It's not the same thing. So that distraction, for lack of a better term, really isn't there, but it's something for the fans. And we need a distraction right now. We need something else to be excited about, look towards right now, but also very much looking forward to the game against a dangerous Missouri team that, much like Alabama, don't forget, the last time we were number 1, Missouri was number 7, and they were undefeated as well. So 2 teams that are trying to get it back steered the right direction, and hopefully Alabama's going to be able to get that done in that prime kick, not prime time as far as television window, but it is still a very much a prime slot that'll take place on Saturday afternoon.
We look forward to it, Chris. Best of luck with everything that's coming up this week, including Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show on Wednesday. We look forward to seeing you at Saban Field at Bryant Denny Stadium. Roll Tide. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Roll Tide.